The Tragedy of the Commons, Ocean Garbage Gyres. In my own words, the tragedy of the commons is a situation where individuals overuse a shared resource and that resource cannot keep up with the demand. This can happen in any environment or ecosystem. The problem is when the resource is exploited and the demand overcomes the supply. If this occurs, then the resource becomes unavailable to all. For example, Los Angeles in the early 1900s had an underground water aquifer that could be pumped from a well. This aquifer was a natural resource, so all the water that was being pumped was coming from the same pool, so to speak. In the 1930s and 40s, the city grew, so that meant more people would be using the aquifer. Eventually, the aquifer was pumped dry and left susceptible to saltwater invasion from the Pacific Ocean. After saltwater entered the aquifer, it can no longer be used for fresh water.
What is an ocean garbage gyre? A gyre is a naturally occurring phenomenon. It's simply a massive whirlpool located within the oceans that collects trash within its currents. And this picture depicts the whirlpool-like structure of a gyre. There are 5 gyres located throughout the Earth's oceans. They are the North Pacific, South Pacific, North Atlantic, South Atlantic, and the Indian. This chart indicates the top 10 items that are most commonly found within a gyre. As you can tell, cigarettes are number 1. And as you go on down the list, you'll notice several different types of plastic items. In fact, scientists have observed that 90% of the trash floating within the gyres is actually plastic. Okay, let's review. Trash is taken into the ocean typically by waves coming on shore and collecting trash, boats or freight transportation losing items or chemicals at sea, or humans throwing waste directly into the ocean. These items eventually get sucked into a gyre and trapped due to its currents, staying there to break down and harm the environment in which it is located for many years to come. These items pollute our oceans and cause detrimental harm to the species within them and their environments. Everyone needs to ask themselves, is this the ocean I want? Because the choice is up to each one of us to make the difference.
The ocean garbage gyre relates to the tragedy of the commons in more ways than one. We have already learned how an ocean gyre occurs and how marine waste becomes involved. The fact is that 80% of debris comes from land-based activities in North America and Asia, and the remaining 20% comes from ships and boaters. Due to the gyre's current pulling all the marine waste in one location, the waste will sit there until it can be disintegrated into its smallest form. We have learned that 90% of marine waste is plastic, but plastic does not completely disintegrate. Instead, it takes on a smaller form called microplastic and creates a cloudy look in the ocean gyres. This is one of the ways that it can contribute to the tragedy of the commons. Albatrosses mistake microplastic for fish eggs, and if ingested, the microplastic is harmful and can kill the albatrosses. Another way the ocean garbage gyre contributes are continuing to endanger species by ghost fishing. Ghost fishing is the result of fishing net that is thrown overboard from ships that then the fish become entangled, then suffocate. Loggerhead sea turtles think that plastic Walmart bags, or plastic bags in general, are jellies, their favorite food. When they swim over to the jellies to try to attack, they then get caught in the bag and also suffocate. Another reason that they contribute to the tragedy of the commons is marine debris can prevent algae and plankton. Algae and plankton are the photosynthetic producers in marine life. If they do not receive enough sunlight, then they cannot make nutrients. When their organisms are put at risk, their entire food web is at risk. Each level of the food chain will have less and less to feed off of. Eventually, seafood will become less available and more expensive for people.
Realistic ways to keep ocean gyre under control. Some ways that you can keep ocean gyre under control is put out flyers to tell the public about keeping litter under control to help with the ocean, start a movement to make people want to recycle, pick up trash on the beach, and no littering.
With everyone's help, we can help control the waste in the ocean garbage gyre and create a cleaner, healthier ocean for all living things.